It's time for the Bison Beat with KSJB Sports Director Kyle Dean and voice of the Bison, Jeff Culhane. Brought to you by First Class Aviation Maintenance and Flight School and Hefty Seed of Lisbon, North Dakota. Now, here's Kyle Dean and Jeff Culhane.
All right, thank you very much. Kyle Dean here with you online at KSJBAM.com. Thank you to our sponsors to make this broadcast possible. And like every Wednesday, we talk to the voice of the Bison himself. It's Jeff Culhane. Hey, Jeff, how you doing today on this beautiful November day?
Hey, Kyle, good to be with you. Just wrapping up a dentist appointment and actually sitting in a dentist chair as we speak, talking to you right now.
Oh, wow. So we're going to have a fun time today, are we? With no drilling, No drilling, hopefully, right?
No drilling, but I got to get better with my flossing.
Oh, yes, me too. I think I'm one of those people too. All right, so since we have a little shorter program for today, let's hurry up and recap last week's game, which was a very convincing win there, Jeff, wasn't it?
Oh, it definitely was. You know, I think that the Bison wanted to make a statement. They wanted to play for their seniors. You know, I thought they came out and got jumped on Indiana State early. You know, the Darius Shepard 84-yard punt return for a touchdown was a big-time play, the longest play of the year for North Dakota State. And this defense is just playing at a high level right now, and I thought the defensive line really picked it up with the injury to Nate Tangway as the next man up mentality out there once again. And special teams, I mean, you know, goodness, you see the returns, you see the coverage. I mean, defensively and in the special teams category, this team is playing at a high level, and they continue to run the football very well. Easton Stick got into the mix last week with a couple of touchdown runs. So I think the offense is moving in the right direction, and they would tell you they have not played their best 60 minutes yet. So I think that bodes excitement for this weekend and for the playoffs coming up.
And speaking of this weekend, they're taking on South Dakota, in which South Dakota defeated North Dakota State last year in Fargo. And now they're traveling to South Dakota to take them on for the final game of the season. What is Coach Kleiman thinking and the players thinking for this week's game, since there's a lot on the line actually for the Missouri Valley Football Conference?
Well, there's a ton on the line, Kyle. You know, the conference championship is on the line. And it was great last night to see from the committee that North Dakota State's the number one team in the rankings right now for the FCS playoffs. Mm-hmm. So that was big. That was big to see unveiled Tuesday night. So the Bison have a lot to play for versus USD with the rankings, with a share of the conference title on the line. And if South Dakota State loses to Northern Iowa and the Bison beat USD, NDSU would be the outright winner of the Valley. So there's so much on the line, and you throw in the revenge factor, as you mentioned. USD beat NDSU last season in Fargo, so a huge win for the Coyotes. And trust me, the players know all about it. They remember. They're going to use that as motivation. So even though South Dakota is a team right now that's 4-6 on the year, the Bison are going to be a motivated group going down to Vermilion.
And, you know, this series has been going on for a while, since 1903, I have here. It's the 81st meeting between these two teams. And how is this stadium there in Vermilion? How does Coach Kleiman think is that going to play a factor for this weekend, since, you know, it is, if you look at it, it is a rival matchup in a way?
Well, it's a Dakota Dome, and, you know, I actually one of my first jobs was at USD.
Oh, wow.
So I called games at USD about 10 years ago, and so I know the Dakota Dome very well. It's a 10,000-seat venue with the majority of the seats on one side, and the student section is on the opposite side of where I believe the opponents stand. So they make sure they're very vocal and they're in your ear and talking all about you while you're preparing and getting ready to play. So 10,000-seat venue, I'm not sure if they'll sell it out or not. It is their senior day, but the Dakota Dome has been known to be loud from time to time.
All right. So like we were talking about for playoffs a little bit here, we had that committee which came out last night, you said, in which NDSU was number 1. Also, the other North Dakota school, University of North Dakota, was number 9. What is this selection show coming up on Sunday then? That's the final selection show, correct?
Correct. Final selection show is Sunday at 10 a.m. I think if the Bison win, they'll be locked in at number 1. North Dakota needs some help. They don't play this weekend. Their regular season is over. They're 9-2.
Mm-hmm.
They share a portion of the conference championship with the Big Sky with Eastern Washington. If they win their game at Portland State, which I believe they will. So I think the Bison will be locked in to number 1 if they win. UND needs some help. UND needs to have a couple of teams in front of them lose. Central Arkansas is at Sam Houston State. Also, Richmond is at William and Mary. I think if those teams potentially lose, and if South Dakota State loses as well, it'd give UND a great opportunity to move up and have a first-round bye.
All right. Hey, we're going to take a quick break, Jeff, and when we come back, we'll continue the Bison Beat right here on KSJB.
Did you ever look to the skies and dream of flying an airplane? Quit dreaming and contact First Class Aviation to schedule your discovery flight, where a first-class instructor will take you up in one of their airplanes. Call 952-1515, 952-1515. Aircraft maintenance is also available. Just call to schedule your aircraft. And they offer aircraft rental, too. Owners are NDSU Bison team makers at First Class Aviation, Flight School, and Aircraft Maintenance at Jamestown Airport. Go Bison!
Don't give up on your soybeans too early. Hi, I'm Darren Hefty with Hefty Seed Company. Far too often we see yield left on the table because either the growing season just wore people down or they simply were tired of spending more money. If a $5 investment turned into $10 to $40 in a month, would you do it? To find these opportunities, keep scouting your fields all the way until the soybeans start to turn yellow. There's a potential for a very nice crop. Don't leave yield on the table by giving up on your soybeans too early. Call 1-800-27-HEFTY for the answers to your agronomic questions.
All right, we are back here on the Bison Beats, online at ksjbam.com. Hey, thank you to the sponsors, First Class Aviation Maintenance and Flight School and Hefty Seed of Lisbon. And once again, thank you to the sponsors who make this broadcast possible. And joining us, like every Wednesday, the one and only voice of the Bison, Jeff Culhane. And he's actually at the dentist, and he's, so far, nothing's gone wrong, right, Jeff?
All good, Kyle. So far, so good. I think I'm going to reschedule my exam, but that's not a problem at all. So, no, all good here.
Hey, that's a good thing. Well, the Bison are feeling pretty good right now. And like we've been talking about their upcoming game versus South Dakota, I want your words on this last regular season. What do you think about this last regular season? What are your thoughts about it since it's been a pretty dang good season?
Well, it's been a very successful year, and, I tell you what, it's been a challenging season for this football team. They have been hit by the injury bug left and right and to key players throughout the season. And I don't think, Kyle, I've seen a team suffer as many injuries to as many key players in 1 year as I've seen with this NDSU team. I mean, to lose Nate Tangway, to lose Nick DeLuca, to lose Bruce Anderson for a period of time, King Frazier misses a game, just to name a few. I mean, those are big names. Those are big players on this team, and the culture of this program is second to none. And I don't think I've seen a culture so strong as the one that is here at NDSU as well. So it's been a very successful year. There's a lot left out there to get, but also there have definitely been challenges for these players and coaches.
And, last week some of the younger players got to play a little bit. What does that mean for the program to get some playing time for those youngsters?
Well, I think it's great. It allows those guys to get some actual game reps in Valley play. That gives the coaches film to evaluate. All of those things are good. Those are all good things. So when you get some of the younger guys out there, some of the Zach J. Johnsons at left tackle, the Cole Karches, the Derek Tuskas at defensive tackle. We got to see James Hendricks for a few snaps, Damaris Purifoy. You see those names out there. You see those guys. Oh, that's all good. Those are all good things. And another great thing, Kyle, is not one red shirt had to be pulled this year. Mm-hmm. The first time in, I think, since 2007,
wow,
the Bison have been able to redshirt all their true freshmen. So that is a huge step for the program and the future of the program moving forward.
All right, so yeah, that's great news in that aspect. And, wrap it up here for the Bison Beat. What's the schedule look like, the playoff schedule then, if they do win or if they do lose? Like, what is the schedule then for the bye week or no bye week? What's that look like in the future?
Well, I think, Kyle, the Bison are pretty well locked into a first-round bye. Even with a loss to USD, they would definitely drop, but I don't believe they would drop out of the top 8.
Okay.
So I think there's a very, very strong chance the Bison will get a bye. With a win, they're the 1 seed, and they'll await, depending on what the bracket shows or what it sets up, they'll await somebody to come to the Fargo Dome for a second-round game on December the 3rd. So take care of business this weekend, knock off USD, and feel good about yourselves. Take that number 1 ranking, and then also take a bye. I think this team could really use a bye to their advantage and get healthy and get some guys off of their feet.
All right. So, once again, we have that broadcast coming up here, of course. So what time is it there, Jeff, for this weekend?
Yeah, pregame starts at 1:30 and kickoff set for 2 o'clock right here on KSJB, Kyle.
All right. Hey, once again, thank you very much, Jeff, for joining us here on this Wednesday. We're going to take next week off for Thanksgiving, and we will talk to you in a couple weeks, Jeff, all right?
Thanks, Kyle. Have a great holiday.
Hey, you too. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
That's once again voice of the Bison, Jeff Culhane, today for the Bison Beats here on KSJB and online at ksjbam.com. Once again, Bison football this Saturday right here on KSJB. It's going to be a fun time, and playoffs are approaching.